What's up, everybody?
What's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPblab. I'm here with Bridget the Twitter nerd, Bridget the awesome, Bridget the amazing. Tonight, we are going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff. We're going to be talking about WordPress page builders, and if you use them, are you cheating? That's what the air quotes. Exactly. Yeah, we're going to talk about this. The reason why we're going to talk about it is because it is, you're totally right, Bridget, it is a little controversial. And the reason being is because, you know, people who are old school, I would classify myself as like web dev old school, or web design, web whatever old school. You know, I did all this stuff by hand. And I actually had a pretty cool conversation this morning regarding that. Like, we're kind of going through back and forth about like how do you classify this stuff, and how do you? It was with Mary Baum. We were talking about it.
Oh
yeah. And so
I love Mary. She's awesome.
You know, we were just kind of chatting back and forth about this, and so you know, it was good because it got me to kind of think a little bit about this. You know, back in the day, I used to write all my HTML from scratch. I'd load up Notepad on my Windows computer, and I would type in a bunch of stuff.
After you walk in 10 feet of snow barefoot.
Right. And then I'd write out my stupid form. And then I'd have to have something on the other end, capture the data from the form, and do something with it, write it to a database. No, it was send an email, or it was writing it to a text file or whatever. So let me think a little bit. It's like, you know, I have kind of transitioned from one type of person to the next by just, you know, starting out by doing this stuff all by hand. I tell my kids it's like learning the math before you use a calculator. And so it's like that. I totally learned the math before I use a calculator. Now I totally appreciate that I can load in Gravity Forms, hit the little plus thing, drag in a bunch of things, hit save, and guess what? I have a form that's now capturing data from people on the internet. How awesome is that? So now I'm looking at it from this perspective of a page builder. So let's define page builder real quick. What do you think a page builder is, Bridget?
I think a page builder is a plugin that lets you define areas based on a WYSIWYG.
Oh, she started to pull out the big words.
Editor.
Use all the acronyms.
In the content area of your theme, not including the header or footer. I think I watched Beaver Builder thing, so is that kind of right?
That's totally right.
So that was like Devin quizzed me the other day. What's a P tag? Like, quick, what's a P tag? Paragraph?
Yes, there we go. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
So yeah, you're totally right. So what you're doing is you're able to take different elements and either drag them, click the little plus sign, push the add button. It just depends on what the thing is. And be able to add additional elements to the page, and then take those elements and make a website out of it. So that's what a lot of these ones out there do. Beaver Builder, Visual Composer, Headway, Divi, all these guys are doing this exact same type of thing. And we'll make sure to put links in the show notes and stuff so you guys can totally click on those and kind of go through all of that. So with all that being said, you know, I'm learning that the next step in this, the next like kind of evolutionary step in this is taking my, taking the kind of quasi design mode type stuff that I'm doing and making the website faster, like building those pieces of it faster. So is it cheating? I don't know, old school Jason, you know, back in the day, I would have looked at that and went, dude, you're using like Dreamweaver in the web browser. Are you kidding me? Like, you're dragging and dropping a bunch of stuff onto the page, and you're making the page built quickly and easily. Is that cheating?
Okay, so in quilting, there's a controversy. So I do the hybrid, which is I sew all the top with the machine.
Okay.
But the actual quilting, which is why a quilt is called a quilt, is the stitching that puts the top and the bottom together with the batting inside. And if you do that with a machine, there's some of us old schoolers are like, that is cheating. If you don't bleed and if your hands aren't cramping, you haven't put the love into that. It's not a real quilt. But I don't know if you have to bleed to build a website.
Well, we don't really have thimbles.
If you have not bled, you have not made a quilt. There must be DNA on.
So I think what a lot of people will say about this, especially the people that kind of have come up through the ranks or have been doing this long enough, is that how good is the HTML that's being generated? And how many people are actually, you know, I remember going through my HTML and cleaning up all the tags so everything like flows nicely and neatly all the way down the page when you look at look at it.
The source.
Yeah, now it's like, you know, you're minifying the whole thing. Like, who cares what it looks like? You're squishing, you're taking out all the blank spaces, all the places that you can remove a space, and squishing it all down to like just the basic.
Well,
so who cares, right? Like, who cares if like it
who's
looks
reading
good?
it? If it's a browser that's reading it, then who cares?
Right.
But if it's a person, that's different. Like if you
now,
have to go back and edit it.
Right. Well, when will you ever edit it? Like by hand?
Are you not even supposed to do that?
No, you can't. You're done. That's it. You drag and drop all the stuffs in there and you hit the go button and that's it.
No, I mean if you didn't use a page builder.
Oh, yeah, you're totally doing it all by hand. You're still using like, for instance, if you're using like one of the food plugins, right? You're dragging in something, you're dropping it in there, you're putting in a short code, something like that. Well,
isn't that cheating? Is it the plugin making the shortcode cheating?
Right.
Like, how far are you going to go? Because in some ways, getting a theme from WordPress, that's already pre-built. Is that cheating? Like, how far back do we go here? What kind of commitment
Hello,
are we really
computer. I want you to make me a website. You know what I mean?
Siri,
it's like
Siri, can you make me a website?
Like, where are we at in this? So, yeah, is it cheating? Possibly. It just depends on who you ask. Hashtag it depends. It depends.
Well, there's the philosophical debate, and then there's the actual, we're an agency, we got paid X amount of dollars, even though we're billing for our value instead of our time, there's still time that's involved in creating the value. So on a job costing perspective, you're going to sit in there and you're going to pay Beaver Builder $100 for a license, or you're going to spend an hour doing it. Because if your time is worth $100 an hour,
right,
it's foolish. I would say that it's foolish to spend over an hour doing what something for $100 could do for you. From a job costing standpoint, from an accounting standpoint, it would be hard to justify it, especially when freelancers are trying to do so many jobs, and a lot of times after their day job, right? These are our WordPress friends.
Totally. I mean, Iris is kind of taking it to the extreme, which I absolutely love. Is that, unless you're Amish, unless you're like full blown not using electricity at all, are you cheating? Yeah, well, at some point here, these things need to be ones and zeros, and they need to be transferred over the internet, and then be displayed onto your computer. At some point.
That's what I'm saying. If you take the philosophical argument and stretch it out, using WordPress is cheating.
Yeah, because it totally fixes all the issues.
Don't even use CSS. CSS is cheating because you have one style sheet that formats the entire website.
Right. You mean you don't do your styles inline? Are you kidding me?
You should be doing inline styles in every single page.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, why do you make it styles.css like you're getting away with something over there?
Yeah, I know. And I totally recognize the fact that like the word cheating ridiculous. In quotes is totally link bait. We get it. I've built, But
then you're here, so it worked.
Yep, exactly.
Thanks for coming.
Make sure you buy something at the gift shop. So
press like.
Right. So here's the deal. So I
did something at the gift shop. I just got that. It's so Disneyland.
So here's how this works. We're using Blab. I didn't even do any of the intros, Bridget. Everybody knows who you and I are. Totally
if they
get it.
don't, just Google me. I'm the first 20 pages of Bridget Willard. I'm not even exaggerating.
You can search for Jason Tucker.
Volume.
Yeah.
That's how you win Google.
Search for Jason Tucker. You'll get a couple football player guys from Canada that are black, and then a couple that are me. So there you go. All right, so here's how this works. We're using blab.im. If you're watching this later, I'm so sorry. You're not going to be able to really interact with us. I apologize. We can't do the time machine stuff or anything like that.
You can send us a tweet.
You totally can. Yep. So what I'm saying here is that if you want to get involved a little bit, over on the right-hand side, there is a chat room there. Feel free to leave any messages or whatever you like in there. If you want to ask a question, type in /Q space and then your question, and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Blab's great because we get 2 free open seats. So if you want to jump in and say hello, feel free to hit the little button there to jump into the open seat, and then you'll be able to converse with us. Is that how this works, Bridget?
Yeah.
All right, good. Whew. My goodness.
I think so.
All right, let's see here. How far do you have to go back to not cheat? Do we need to invert our own markup language? Yeah. Do we need to invent our own markup language? Yes, exactly. That's totally true. It's like, I don't have to go and write something. I don't have to go and do like I used to do, where I'd write a bunch of files and text files and then write something that would generate a website off of a bunch of text files. I didn't know how to use a database. You know what I mean? So yeah. Is it cheating? No, I don't think it's cheating. I think there's plenty of people out there that will totally say that it's cheating, but I think that there's also people that will definitely say that it's a crutch, or it's a handicap, or it's a way of getting around something so you're not spending a whole bunch of time writing code.
Yeah,
really?
But then that's debatable. I almost wish Robbie was here, because I've heard a lot about those main 4 Divi Headway. Mm-hmm. Visual Composer seems to have a really bad reputation.
Yes.
And Beaver Builder, of course, which I bought and I've used, and we use it at work. So that's my disclaimer. We do agency work and we use it, and the clients don't care. You know what? They just want it done.
Right.
So one of the things that I think people favor with Beaver Builder is it doesn't rely on short codes. Yes. So if you decide to change your theme, you will not lose your content. And that is a major
plus in the plus column.
Yeah, it's definitely a pro. Yeah. So, I mean, at first, I will admit that at first, when I first used it, because, I don't know how to say this because it's being recorded and people are watching, but most of my WordPress training is being thrown into the 12-foot end of the pool.
Yep.
So, my hardest part with
you're becoming a blogger to a power user. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, because you used to have just one rectangular box. Now I'm in advanced custom fields and
yep,
and maybe advanced custom fields and Beaver Builder on some pages. Okay, so right. I didn't know that when you're in the editor, it says page builder is active on this.
Right.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like warning. And so I went in there to change my stuff, and all of a sudden I publish it, and I'm like, what the H just happened? Because by leaving that screen, you turn off page builder. Page builder, the page builder stops building. It's like construction people that don't get paid don't show up for work. So and I realized, oh my God, this is so I just realized you just go back and say turn it back on. So that was a little tricky for just for somebody who should be reading manuals.
Right.
Oops.
Well, in the chat, there's a kind of a side conversation going on regarding should you charge less because you're using a page builder?
No.
Well, should I charge less because I'm using Gravity Forms? Should I
No.
charge less because I'm using an e-commerce solution that has zillions of hours put in by an entire conglomerate of people that were like, yes, I'm going to build WooCommerce? No.
Do people charge less if they hire overseas writers to write the content on their blogs?
No.
That pay their people $5 a post instead of $100 or $200? No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
People outsource all kinds of things. If you think about it from a business perspective, we just used rev.com to transcribe a video. That was the best thing I saw from Adam Warner. He had a blog post about that a long time ago, and I saved it for $1 a minute. You know how long it takes me? It takes me an hour for every 10 minutes. Is my time worth more or less than $30? I'm going to say it's worth more. And my boss agreed with me, right? So these are the kinds of decisions you make when you're dealing with resources. So you have the resource, you bought the license, now it's a tool available to you. Do you not turn on the air conditioning? Do you charge clients more in the summer? These are ridiculous questions because it doesn't have anything to do with your ability. And furthermore, it doesn't have anything to do with the end result.
Yeah.
And that's what really matters. You're being paid to deliver a product. Did you deliver the product that they asked for? If it's a yes, then charge whatever you want because it's whatever they're going to pay for.
Well, the way that I see it is that if there's people out there that are charging for Squarespace websites, which means that they're not managing the content management system,
right?
They're not managing the database, they're not managing the servers, they're not doing any of that stuff. All they're doing is they're just using a tool that already exists and are building things on top of it. Should they charge more or less? Well, no, because they're putting in effort, and effort costs money. So yeah, you should definitely charge appropriately and make it work.
It goes back to the value. I mean, I always hear this: stop charging by the hour.
Yep.
So I say you should do job costing internally to see how much it costs you. So if you decide you're worth $20 an hour, and if you spend 5 hours on a website, it costs you $100 plus the self-employment tax that you have to pay. Now you decide how much you're going to mark up and how much the value is, right?
Yep.
So how you accomplish that is really doesn't matter. They're not paying to look at the code. Nobody cares. They want a website that's reliable, that delivers what they want in the way that they want it, that brings people to the magic button on their website that says, buy now. If that works, you did your job.
Yeah.
Drops the mic.
Folks, we're late. We're ending early. We're done. That's
Everyone
it.
cares about code. I didn't tattoo code is poetry on my body. I'm saying, of course, as somebody who considers herself an artist, I play the guitar and I use a cable, and I know my guitar teacher is saying that's cheating. You should have learned the actual chords. And on the piano, I never use the buttons on the piano to transpose the key. I always play in the right key. So sometimes you just have to use the resources that are available to you, Right. So, I mean, I don't really see that it's a bad thing. We just said that to get you guys all, somebody jump in this seat because that's what we were doing. We're riling you up on purpose. We're like community organizers, only different.
We're trying to start a riot.
A little bit. It's fun.
If you're saying the point is to just sell a site that makes money, couldn't you argue that Beaver Builder, et cetera, is too complicated?
No way.
So yeah, okay, we could definitely talk about that. So one of the things that Mary and I were talking about earlier today was that, and she totally prepped me on this whole thing. She didn't even know she was, but she totally was. Is what happens when you inherit the site? So let's say you're the developer, right? Who the previous guy got fired because he didn't know what the heck he was doing, and he just installed something or whatever, and he's like, like, what happens then when you go and have to figure out this page builder? Now, I took a job probably a couple years back where the person was running an older version of Headway, and I don't like Headway. Like, I just don't like Headway. I don't like the way it works. It's like, I don't like a Kia. Like, I've driven a Kia before. I don't really like Kias. Doesn't mean that they're a bad car or anything. I'm just saying I personally do not like the Kia.
Oh, that's a
It just
good
doesn't work right.
analogy. That's a really good analogy.
It totally works. You could drive it on the freeway. You could drive it, do all the things you need to do with it. But I personally don't like it. So what happens then? Should I have taken the job because it's, because the website's using Headway? Should I have vetted this and looked at it and really said, hey, well, what technologies are being used on the site before I really get into it? Oh, you're using GoDaddy? Oh, I have I hate blah, blah, blah. Or, oh, you're using Bluehost? Are you kidding me? Why would you use Bluehost? It's those types of things where it's just like, if you have an opinion about something, and mind you, I did all those things I was just talking about. These are all just like examples.
They're things people say though. That's just reality. It's just reality. And I love Bluehost. Mike Hanson's my BFF.
Are you kidding me? You're paying $1,000 a month for Pagely? Why would you do that? It's like those types of things. So what I'm getting at here is that you have an opinion, and you should really look at these things before you take on the job, which is one of the questions that we're having. Right? Heck yeah, it's discovery, and you should charge for discovery if you can. Totally charge for discovery. So you look at the site and you look at it and say, well, can I do this? Can I not do this? What should I do with it? How should I do it? Maybe you want to suggest some changes to it. Go from there. Kind of look at it. Recently on my my website at my work, our whole front page of our website was all built by hand, and it was just one template PHP file that was just sitting in there in WordPress that I wrote by hand and wrote a bunch of CSS around it. Well, I wrote the CSS in a way that I could totally port it to Beaver Builder. So I just went and made all the elements I needed. I put all the classes in there that I needed. I hit the save button, and lo and behold, the site looked like it barely even changed a bit. Why not? So I love the fact that we're having to read a lot of text over in the chat.
I was just thinking, wow. Adam Thomson, come on down.
Yeah, please, dude. Hit
on The Price is Right, because you really have a good, strong opinions, and it's not too long. Do not read. We're just saying, like, you are welcome to call in.
Yeah, I am not very. Yeah, please, if you want to, go for it.
But Adam Thomson, for the sake of YouTube, says, I charge for the initial build and then a small amount monthly for hosting, updating plugins, etc., which we would refer to as maintenance. I also charge something per hour.
Per hour, yeah.
For template changes. So I teach the client to do their own content, though, and leave them to it for the most part. Then I'm on to the next project. Page builders have been great for this because drag and drop is the best selling point, in my humble opinion. It's probably not the best business model for me, but it seems to be what people want. And that's the other issue about what makes a page builder good. So in my situation, not thinking I was applying to be a junior web developer, we literally have meetings with Devin where Jason and I say, can you do this discovery on this client's website and see if this is something that Bridget can do?
Wow.
Is it? And I said, is it Bridgetable?
Is it Bridgetable?
Like,
awesome.
I could go into the menu and change menu names and some customizer things and stuff. But if it's all hard-coded in the HTML, the footer, the header, that's all dev. That's all dev work. Not a dev. Hashtag not a dev, right? So, I mean, the reality is sometimes there are people, again, it's about the resources. So if you put Page Builder on, Beaver Builder or some other, whatever, we do use Beaver Builder. You put Beaver Builder on there, all of a sudden you're changing what kind of person can just get this done, okay? Because all I'm supposed to be doing is adding content, right? Yeah. I write the content goes into the boxes. Right? It can be this major hardcore development just to add another page or add another custom post type. So sometimes it's easier for your person that's managing it, and then you have to hand it off to the client. And who's going to be able to do that there?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's because a lot of times that's the tricky part. Like when I first started using, when I first started on one of our sites that had advanced custom fields, I was like, what in the holy hell is this? Where's my rectangular box? You know, I was been using WordPress for a long time. I want my rectangular box.
Right.
Now there's all these tabs and all these meta box thingamabobs, and you're just like, what goes where? It's so, but Beaver Builder is, I know exactly where things go because I can see it.
Right. Well, if you're a visual learner, you're a visual understander, you're a visual, person, it makes total sense. And so, the thing is with Beaver Builder in particular, and we're talking about Beaver Builder a lot here because that's what we use. I've used Visual Composer, I've used Headway, I've used Divi, I've used all these ones that are out there. But the one I really like, that one's Beaver Builder. So with Beaver Builder, the thing that that I've noticed is that if you're a developer and you want to really get into like developer-y type stuff, you totally can. Build a module in Beaver Builder. Make that module do something cool, either detect what page ID it's on or detect what's happening on the page or what have you. Drag those pieces in there like Lego and start building. And that's what I do. I'm like, oh, I want to pull in a list of let's see here. I want to pull in I work at a church, so I want to pull in the most recent sermon, or maybe I want to pull in a sermon with a drop down where you can pick which one, and that's the one that's going to be displayed on the page. You can totally do it, and you can do it really, really easily.
Would you say that, I know that it's not technically a page builder, but when you create a custom post type, you're sort of making a template? Is that an alternate to using a page builder?
Well, you rephrase that. What do you mean?
Somebody still has to build the custom post type, right?
Right.
What it's going to look and what fields are going to be there.
Yep.
But when you add another one of those custom post types, it's going to be the same.
Yeah. So in Beaver Builder in particular,
would that be kind of an in between total customization and a page builder?
No, because like with anything. So for instance, our sermons at the church, that's a custom post type. It's called sermon, and all the sermons go inside the sermon custom post type. If I want to do a query and say, give me a list of all of the sermons that are in that sermon custom post type, the box says, which custom post type am I looking at first, and then what are the other parameters that I want? So yeah, totally can.
Interesting.
Yep. It's neat, and that's why they've built it the way that they did. And in all of these, they build these a certain way so that way they can be expanded on. And so you have these templates that are within like Beaver Builder, for instance. The page template is actually kind of laying on top of the page itself. So if you want to have a front page, there's 16 front pages you can pick from. And then if you want one of the interior pages, there's a whole bunch of interior pages you want. You want an About Us page or whatever else. So it just kind of gets you closer to the finish line. It definitely is not going to, you can build the entire website with ever changing any CSS using it. But yeah, and it also works with all of the existing themes that are out there. So if you just want to modify the page and not the entire site, go for it.
So these guys, Brianna and Roy, are talking about front-end editors.
Yeah.
So is Beaver Builder a WYSIWYG front-end editor?
Yeah, but WYSIWYG's kind of old school, so we don't say it anymore. It's kind of like
what do you say? Drag and drop.
It's kind of like saying Donald Trump. So you just don't want to say it because you don't want.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah, you don't say WYSIWYG.
I'm sorry. I'll be 43 in June.
I mean, you can say it, but you're kind of dating yourself a little bit there.
I mean, at least I don't say QWERTY for the keyboard. So
you totally should.
I do say return. I do still say return though. Let's return. And my husband will go, "What's return?" I go, "Enter, whatever it is." I learned to type when the thing actually went like that. Look, we have somebody calling in.
Sweet. Let's answer it. Look, it's Adam.
Adam Thomson.
What's up, Adam? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, long time listener, right? Goodness me.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Hey, so like my biggest thing with using page editors basically is just that before page builders came along, I would sit a client down and go, right, this is how you're going to edit your website. And they'd go, cool, how do we add an image? And I'd go, you click add media and you upload your image. And then they go, if I want it over here, you go, sweet, you just click it, you go align right, and so on and so forth. And then they go, well, how about like a expanding content, like a thing, expanding text field, you know? And you go, oh, well, you have to use a shortcode. And then they go, what's that? And then, like you're saying, they have this fear of anything to do with code. And yeah,
it's
you
real,
know, right?
Adam, it's real.
The fear is real. Yeah, I mean,
that struggle is real, bro.
But it doesn't just stop there, you know, like anything you want to do that's not just text or a basic image, you can't do without using a shortcode or something like that. And people have this perception of WordPress as being this amazing platform where you can build a website like that, and that's not really the case. And because if you want to get down into specific content elements that people want, like expanding text for like a frequently asked question field, then they're just like, you can't do it unless you use something else. And then you can start loading up on plugins for their site just for all the little things, or you can just use a page builder. And the good thing about you know, we may have talked recently about Visual Composer, and I'm sorry to bring it up again, but like it's the only one I've used to this point, and now I'm looking at other options in that. But the good thing is you click add, you know, content element, and then there's 50 different types of things that you can possibly add to that page, and that's great, and it's just so easy for the client. And I found that teaching someone to edit their own website without a page builder has taken a long time, and I've had to explain to them all about how plugins work, and then they've kind of gone, well, now I know how to do that myself. Do I even need you? And then they kind of question whether they've wasted as much money as they should have and all that sort of thing.
Oh man.
Or you can teach them to use a page builder, and it takes like under a day, you know, and then they just have all this confidence, and then they love WordPress, and they don't feel like they're limited at all. Which is like before page builders, I would sit someone down and go, look, it's just like Microsoft Word, you know, WYSIWYG, and then
This episode is brought to you by WYSIWYG.
But they'd still feel like they were held back by the fact that, you know, limited in the amount of things that they could do. And but yeah, now it's sweet, and I have a good appreciation for page builders. So yeah. But I guess also it comes down to the fact that because I'm a freelancer, my model that works for me is just to like set it and forget it and then move on to the next thing. But that's not for everyone, you know. And I do realize that.
Well, I really wish that page builders were around like they are now back when I was freelancing, because to be able to create a site, especially since I'm not a designer at all, I'm a developer, I'm not a designer. And as somebody who puts together all the pieces that needs to be put together, I'd spend a lot of time just trying to get this, what I call like the scaffolding of the site up, and then go, oh, well, now I need to make this thing look halfway decent. And so now I have to go through and build all that.
CSS Zen Garden.
And that's cool because then, you know, you can charge for that, but I don't know.
Well, you could charge for that, but you can also lose because of that. So if you're spending a lot of time trying to get something to work just the way you want it to, especially when you start getting into responsive design stuff, you know, a lot of these page builders are building this thing so that layout piece is done. And then after that, you just need to, you know, slap on some CSS. Well, slap on some CSS is a large part of building as well. But I think getting that layout, that scaffolding together is kind of the trick. I mean, that's the part that's going to take the longest. And you know, I want to build functionality. That's the part I want to get stuck on.
I want
to get stuck on building, like answering the hard questions instead of like.
So you want to be a back-end designer.
Yeah, but when you're the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, you just got to make it work, right? There's nothing you can do but like, and try to collect all the checks. So what are you supposed to do, right? You want to get these things built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found something you said really interesting, Adam, that you're using the page builder obviously to make it faster for you, but also as an onboarding process for your clients.
Yeah.
And this is part of how you get them to agree, or
because like
it makes it your life easier later.
Yes, definitely. Because for me, like using WordPress, and like that's been since like Kubrick, so a while now. The selling point of WordPress for me, I think, is that it's so easy to edit, and that's how you market it to people. I always say to people, you know, they go, "How easy is it?" We hear it's easy to build websites with WordPress, and I go, "Well, if you can edit Microsoft Word, like if you can write a letter in Microsoft Word, you can edit a page or a post on WordPress. It's all the same, bold, italic, underline. That's how I sell it to people." And then, yeah, so it just, they expect to be able to edit their own website easily once they've got it. And a page builder is just the easiest way for them to do that without having to, you know, go through the process of, I mean, okay, rows and columns are the coolest thing of page builders, because you can quickly create responsive areas of your template, of your page, that, you know, you shrink it down and it looks great. And that's a big part of it for me. And I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a big deal now. I mean, it's kind of a deal breaker to not have a responsive site.
And the client, like, they get so frustrated when they try to do something and it doesn't look right. And, you know, and yeah, I feel sorry for them. I think,
you know, well, what I've heard is that by having a page builder, you can totally enable somebody to do really great work with it. But you could also build these like really glorious looking disasters that happen because they don't know how to.
Yes.
They just start dragging in stuff and they go, "I don't know what's going on."
Yes.
Which means, and I hate to say this, but which means there's opportunities for you to get rehired to fix the stuff that they broke. Usually, what it was for me. What's that? Oh yeah. So what happened for me is that. And I hate to always like kind of put down Headway, but Headway at the time back then, but about 2 years ago, was constantly updating and constantly breaking everything in its path. It would like, "Oh, here's the thing, I'm going to update. Oh, it's broken." So my customers would call me up and say, "My site's broken right now. I have a backup because you set me up. Everything's all backed up and everything. But can you restore my backup and then upgrade, you know, Headway just so I can edit my site because they made some changes to this and I really want to start using those changes." And so I would get called up and say, "Fine, I'll go and fix your site." Well, now you have these page builders where somebody goes in there and they drag a box in there and then they go, "Oh." And then they'll click on something and they're like, "Oh no, I just deleted the entire section, not just the one little piece, but the whole thing." And now you're going to get phone calls from people saying like, how do I fix this? Which also means that people are going to have to come up with really clever ways of having undo and redo happening within these page builders, which I haven't really seen yet.
I always teach my clients, like, I have a small list of things that I teach them as soon as I start them into this process of learning how to edit their site. And one of the first things I teach them is revisions and how great WordPress revisions are. So like, I always teach them that there is an undo of sorts within WordPress for that type of scenario. Yeah. So you can spend 3 hours editing a page in Beaver Builder, Visual Composer, whatever, and then go into the main, like the back end of the page editor, and then go into revisions, and you know those. It's not gonna move back one line. It's gonna blow out the entire thing and take you back to the last time you hit save. And it's going to show them all the code from the page builder as well, all the short codes and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's not ideal, but at least WordPress does have that undo kind of option. Yeah, but I think those things are just going to have to get better because people are going to want those types of things, especially a big, huge undo and redo button on the front page of the visual, you know, of that particular editor. They need to be able to go in there and do that stuff, which means there's going to be tons of stuff that's going to be, you know, either cached in the browser, or it's going to be a bunch of cookies, or it's going to be something that's going to need to happen in order to be able to really keep track of what's doing what. Maybe that's a plugin opportunity for someone. It totally is. It totally is. Not me, someone. Yeah. Yeah. Like you just want to buy it and install it and be like, "Hey, client, check out this thing." Yeah, you can edit it. See you later. Right.
I know that one of our frequent open seaters, Adam Silver, loves Hemingway. Just gave a talk about page builders at WordCamp San Diego. His video isn't up there yet. Otherwise, I would have dropped it in. But he loves Headway. But it's funny because you're saying that, and And I told you earlier, I'm studying backwards compatibility, not from a code standpoint, but from a marketing standpoint of what makes WordPress a good choice, especially for a nonprofit who has limited resources. Why should you choose WordPress? Because it's going to be there for you, right? You know. So when you're relying upon a plugin like Headway that isn't backwards compatible, that's kind of opposite, right? Is this what I'm hearing? Is this what I'm hearing? Because it shouldn't be breaking stuff. I just watched Pippin Williamson talk about backwards compatibility from Cape Town WordCamp or something.
Right.
And I mean, I am in backwards compatibility in my brain. So this is sounding like they weren't really honoring that. Am I hearing this correctly?
Well, you know, I was never like a Headway person, a Headway guy, if you will. So I never really used it as like my, you know, my editing thing of choice. So I would just get brought in and just stare at it and go, man, I'm going to have to spend hours like doing research on figuring this out, which I'll get to that point in just a minute here regarding that part of it. So dealing with that and then trying to figure out what a leaf is and what a this is and what's a branch and they were using this like crazy metaphor way back when. And it's just like, you're just like, oh my gosh, why is this taking so long to edit? Like, I just want to get in the code and write my 4 divs and call it a day. Like, I just want to go boom, boom, boom and be done. And that wasn't the case. So I had to learn this whole new thing, which if I would have just vetted and really have done some discovery on this project, I would have just said, you know what, I'm not the developer for you. You need to find somebody who specializes in Headway.
That's like when people say I don't specialize in Genesis, right?
Totally. It's a totally different beast. There are some things that you can get away with. Like you can go, oh, here's a Veda. And then you walk into the room and you're like, wow, there's like 9,000 switches in here. And you switch a couple of them to figure out what's going on. You know, it's kind of figuring out what light switch turns on what in the room. And then you're like, okay, I think I have it figured out. And then, you know, you step away slowly so you don't touch any of the switches as you walk out. Because that's a Veda. And
put the WordPress down. Stand back. Nobody gets hurt.
Right, exactly.
Hey, I gotta go. It was nice talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Adam.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Long time Blab viewer.
Yeah.
That was interesting because I didn't think about it as a opportunity to help onboard your clients.
But I think the thing
I should have as a marketing person.
You're definitely going to have to spend the time to show your clients how to use it or show them what not to do. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, a lot of the times we're trying to figure out trying to protect our clients from themselves, and you're really wanting to make sure that they're not going to, you know, essentially hang themselves on accident because they did something. The last thing you want to do is launch.
Right. Sorry. No, I was just going to say, unless you have the contract to do the whole thing and be the one who adds the content, then it's fine. But if you just want to build it and then hand it over,
right,
that's actually kind of genius.
Well, as like my internal customers at work, you know, they come to me and say, can you build this thing? I'm like, yeah, I totally can. And as we're talking about it, I'm building it. And then when they're done, they're like, oh, so when we have that done? And I just turn my monitor and go, well, how about, and I hit save and I'm like, now. And they're like, wow, how did you build that? It's, you know, it's cool because you can just quickly do it.
Yeah, I do that when my boss says send an email.
So, you know, Verious in the chat brings up a very good point.
Yeah.
And the point is one that Say Reed over at WPwatercooler would always bring up. And this is the idea of having to learn more than just WordPress. And I think the users are going to have to learn more than just WordPress anyhow. Because,
yeah, first of all, you have to get your site on some host. That's the hardest part.
Right. So, you know, they're going to have to learn how to use a form editor if they're going to add, you know, form stuff. They're going to learn how to do any of the like MailChimp type marketing email type stuff. They're going to have to learn all of these little pieces to it. And so, yeah, it's a recipe, if you will. You're building a recipe for a cake, and at some point, they're going to have to know how to stick the cake into the oven. But they're going to also need to know how to build the whole thing if they absolutely, you know, want to and have to. You know, good friend of mine, you know, Steve Zangit will tell you that he wants to make sure that the client never touches the website if they don't have to. But he also works with pretty high-end clients where they shouldn't be going in there and messing with it. But if you can get away with that, maintenance contract, totally, that's the way to go. Or let them break it, and then you're like, see, we could totally come up with something, and that's going to happen. It's just not to say that you're sabotaging the entire thing, but users are users, and they're going to do stuff.
Yeah, backups are important. I know that you said if you've never restored from a backup, you really don't have one.
Yep.
And that's been in my head like this whole year. I know that I have Updraft Plus on, but I've never, it makes those 3 files. And if it doesn't make the zip file, then I can't put in a desktop server. If it doesn't make the XML file, then I can't import it. So I don't really I'm starting to think that maybe, because as I get deeper into my own site, because now my site is basically my sandbox, and awesome posts about why you should use Twitter, BridgetWillard.com. I start wondering, like, oh my gosh, what if I really do break this thing? Like, I did try a child theme, and I made the functions, PHP and everything from the make WordPress thing, like Sarah said at the meetup. We went to this meetup, and she showed us how to do it. I just wanted to see if I could, but then I was so scared that I would break it. I just put the zip file in there, and then I just wanted to see if it was there, and I did a preview. I go, oh, cool, I did it, and I deleted it right away because I realized I don't know if I can restore from a backup.
What methods do you use with desktop server when you're trying to take your site from the website to desktop server, or from the server from your local server to the website? Like, what are you doing to do that?
Okay, so I wanted to do that WP Sync new thing that they have.
That just does small pieces of the site.
I know, but here's the thing. So I renewed my license, and then they sent me an email, and they're like, okay, here's the new version. And I was like, I don't care, because I just paid you guys my license. I don't need it right now.
Right.
And so then I had to go find that and download it. And I downloaded it, and then I installed it, and then it made me, like, I love desktop server with all of my heart.
Right.
I will always love them best, because I would not be here without them.
Because you know what the alternative is, right?
A staging site or some crazy thing,
you can totally roll your own server.
Yamp,
yep.
Zamp, something. So that's the thing, is like on a Mac, first of all, your Mac is mad at you because you downloaded a program that wasn't in the App Store. Like, please, could you guys work on getting that in the App Store? Just pretty please, with sugar on top. And then it didn't work. And then, so I was opening up my dev sites, and they were downloading. I was like, what in the holy crap? I don't care. Like, I just wanted to see if I could do a child theme. I'm not committed to it. Like, I don't have any more time to mess around with this. So I literally could not get desktop server to work. I did something wrong, obviously, because it tells you to move it here and then put in applications, but it really needs to run out of the Zamp folder or something. I don't remember it being that complicated before.
Yeah.
So I really wish that it would just be a little easier. But then I don't know what I did wrong, because I opened the Safari and I saw my dev sites all there, because the upgrade remembered my sites. I have 3 sites, and it remembered them. But then when I clicked on the BridgetWillard.dev, it would go in Safari, and then it would go bloop, like it's downloading. And I was like, seriously? So I need to spend some time on a weekend and figure out what I did wrong. So it's probably not them. I'm sure it's me. I'm 100% sure it's me.
Well, they have excellent support.
I didn't use it before. No, I know. I'll ask Greg maybe later. Yeah. But it wasn't an emergency. I was like, I don't care. But so that's what I want to do. I want to have my local site. I want my backup to be a desktop server. That's what I want. I want that for a dream.
What I want you to be able to do is to be able to take your backup from your website, download it, and then install it as a restore in desktop server.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. Updraft Plus gives you 3 files, and desktop server wants one zip file.
Yep, but they have an
So
entire documentation that explains kind of what to do to make that happen.
I know. I need to study. We're getting off topic.
We are.
I still have the noob street cred because clearly I've used desktop server a bunch of times.
Right.
The new version, I did something wrong when I was downloading. I'll just do it again. I'll just start over. Like, I'll just delete it and start. Whatever.
Yeah.
I know I'm a lost cause. But, like, now I'm like one of those Mac people that can only do stuff when it's in the App Store. Like, you had to go into my thing and say, yeah, I really do want to download this. And I did see in Finder where it was, and I moved everything. It's just I lost my patience.
Desktop server has that daunting task of double clicking and you're like, it's asking me for my password. Wait, why'd you restart? Oh, okay, it's loading. Now it's asking me to do something else. You're like, that has to be a freak out for people. My mom's not going to build a website, but if she totally saw that, she'd just be like, whoa, I don't know what to do here.
It was a tiny bit easier.
Yeah, it'll get there.
And it's not that I don't love them, and I feel really guilty about criticizing it, but anyway.
Well, no, it's fine.
Because it's great, because I really do want to try building a for sure child theme. I want to be able to make the fonts bigger, because I like my theme. I just want the fonts bigger. That's all.
Yeah.
EM 2.0, 2.5. Like, I found all my CSS stuff on W3 Schools. I was like, oh my gosh, this is all coming back. It was exciting. It was so exciting to go. You guys, you got to go to meetups. If there's a real meetup, we're just a virtual one. But if there's a real meetup near you, you should go. Because I never would have thought, I would never take a child theme class at a WordCamp. But when Sarah talked about it, I was like, really? That's all you do? No way. And the code is there? And then somebody said, Bridget, that's what open source code is. It's open. You can just copy and paste. Like, really? No way. It's really exciting. I felt really excited. I'm not changing the world with my child theme, but I actually could do it. I even made a screenshot. I had a screenshot PNG in there and everything.
Nice.
Exciting. That's why it's so good about meetups. You're exposing yourself to other information. So if you don't want to use a page builder, you can make a child theme.
Yep.
That's your alternate, right?
Totally.
Oh yeah, you guys join our Facebook group.
Yeah, so we started a Facebook group as kind of a way to get two folks involved. And so if you wanted to hang out with us, ask us questions, maybe come up with show topics that you want to talk about, this is totally your show too. It's not just Bridget and mine. We're not just going to sit here and kind of come up with ideas all the time. If you have something that you want us to talk about, feel free. And if you want to come in here and tell us something, go for it.
Or if they have questions they don't really want to be on the air, we can send them to the right place if we don't know the actual answer.
Exactly. So the way that this works is that we're using a closed group on Facebook. So all you'll need to do is just go over to the Facebook group, and we'll have it in the show notes. And then request to be in, and we'll let you in, and then we kick all the spammers out. So just try to run a nice and tight ship.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Kick
Adam, that's hilarious.
Off.
That's totally hilarious, Adam. Like, yeah, Chris Lima is in Nicaragua, and he's building a website off of his phone. Good job, Chris.
Wow. Okay, so
good job. Okay, so what else we got here? Should we kind of open it up to the floor a little bit here and see if somebody wants to hop in and say hi?
Hop in, say hi. Open it up.
Roy.
We got 25. We got 35 minutes.
Roy, if you want me to Roy my own server, you need to hop in here and say hi.
Hi, hashtag hi, Roy.
Exactly.
I said that to him at WordCamp. I said, hi, Roy. He goes, that's not getting old. Like, I just would have said that anyway. Oh, look, Roy's calling in.
I want to...
Stop.
What's up, brother?
Hi, Roy!
Just wanted to say
What's
hi.
up, dude?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Do you have any strong opinions about page builders? I mean, you're the JavaScript guy. You're front end.
I think that it's useful for certain clients, but I just don't agree with it's an all client solution just because it does overcomplicate things for certain people. And if you're building a site, a bespoke site for someone for a single purpose, page builders will just confuse them, right? Like, I'm a huge ACF
I agree.
fan. I'd rather strip out everything that's there and only give them options and data that they need for that page versus let them wreak havoc on the site by creating new layouts and, ooh, what does this button do? Ooh, what can I do with this? I see that there's another like video thing. Like, yeah, no, I don't want to support all of that. I mean, that's another thing. Like, from a developer point of view, it's one thing to build and support a website you build versus you install a page builder like Beaver Builder, right? You have to support everything Beaver Builder has as part of their thing, right? So, like, if you don't want to code out the video input that Beaver Builder has because they don't need it, but then they decide, oh, I see video here. Let's start adding video. I don't want to support that. I didn't build your website for that. That wasn't part of the original scope.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that
Totally
way.
true.
Work to the developer to have to maintain and then automatically scope out all this extra stuff because they want Beaver Builder versus saying, hey, this page does this. Here's all the data for that page, and that's it.
But once you give it over
Daniel
to
in
them,
the chat saying,
they can do whatever they want. They own it.
Well, yeah, it's theirs to,
Or do you do maintenance?
I don't know. Never.
I didn't ask you to join the dark side, Roy. I just asked you to
so my friend over here, WP Site Care, he'll totally take care of things.
I will hand off anything like that to other people. I refuse. I build you a site and it's yours. Deal with it.
So are you saying that there's no warranty? Is that what you're saying here?
Well, I guess you would break it. In roofing, we had warranties. So if you touch a roof, you avoid the warranty.
Exactly.
Hey guys,
Verious.
Did you give me a caramel macchiato, Verious?
it's right here.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm at Starbucks. Hopefully, it's not too loud. And you can't hear the.
It's
Is it?
quite loud.
I was being polite.
What?
Can you hear me at all?
Sign it? Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's just a lot of
We're
background
just messing
noise,
with you, bro.
that's all.
Awesome. Oh well, I was just wanting to join into the conversation. I actually, you know what, like the whole page builder trend for me, it's been a little bit disturbing because I'm used to building and coding, tableless layouts, and then I'm like, well, are they trying to take away, the web developer job? Of course, there's always going to be work out there and things like that, but it's just like another intermediary to me. I've used them a lot though. I've used them, and I find one of the bad things that I kind of feel like happens is I get a little bit lazy with the page builders. Like I'm like, oh, I can just drag and drop this. I don't even have to code a layout anymore,
Oh, you think for yourself it's bad?
For myself personally. I've used page builders on certain websites, and then on certain websites, I've gone from like all the way from concept, Photoshop document, all the way through to coding completion. So like I've created custom themes. And I love doing both of those things. I actually kind of love coding a custom theme or like from a starter theme. I love that more. But I find that the page builders become a cop-out in a sense. They're like, hey, I don't have to go in. I don't have to create a whole new design, and I don't have to export elements from Photoshop, and I could just throw it in there, So I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, I still have to do all of those things. So it's not like it was like an end all be all where you're just like, oh sweet, all you gotta do is just take this PSD file and just drag it into Beaver Builder and it's done. No, there's still like JSON
There's
slicing
a
and dicing.
idea.
Well, you still have to do the work.
Here's a Photoshop file. make a template out
I
of it.
made an About Us page, and I still had to. I mean, we had a developer do the first row, and I had to keep copying it. It's still work.
Another big issue with page builders is that they're just like any other plugin. If it doesn't do exactly what you want, they're a pain in the butt to try to modify to get to where you want it. Like if you did your About Us page and you're like, oh, I like it, but this little thing needs to change. You know how hard it is to change
I'm
that
not
little
even trying,
thing?
Roy.
It's a
Hashtag not a dev, remember? I'm going to die.
She drag and drops all the things.
It's one of those things where if you're okay with the way it spits everything out, then fine.
Right.
Like, and you have to accept it for what it is, just like a plugin. You have to accept it for what it is.
It's like using an Apple product. Millions of people do it. Apple totally has you hostage.
Yeah.
You don't like the way.
Until you see that one person where they pulled out their phone, and I kid you not, it has not a single app on it at all. And you're like, I have an iPhone, and you're like, no. You have a phone, like that thing rings, and you answer it, and you may get a text message. Like I don't think you're using it all for what it's actually.
I don't think you really know what that word means.
Right.
I mean, there's also the notion that like when someone comes to me and they want something with a page builder, I'm like, go to Squarespace, go to Wix. Like
Exactly.
I'm not gonna do that for you. Because Squarespace, right? Look, Squarespace has a much better page builder than any of the page builders for WordPress.
Snap!
Like the Squarespace interface is just made for building websites, and I think that the current
it's a WordPress show, Roy.
I speak truth. Only truth.
Hey, Verious, can you hit me real quick?
Okay.
It's down the bottom corner there, inside the little chat. There we go. All right, Roy, you got the floor. Have at it.
So, if someone wants a page builder, send them to Squarespace, send them to Wix, because those are built for that kind of thing. I think that what's out there right now, and we kind of talked about this in the text chat, is that right now the page builders aren't where they need to be viable competitors to Squarespace and Wix. They are, once we get REST API powered front end editors that really do a much better job versus let me just hack away the WordPress admin, then maybe it'll be a much better solution for those people who really want it. But for right now, it's kind of like in middle ground right now. And
so were you thinking that like that the page builder is like the Sega 32X for like the Genesis?
It's like the
Sega. Slap a cartridge in there, and you're like, look, it's better.
It's the Sega CD.
It's a Sega CD.
It gives you more features that you have to deal with,
but it's still going through a Sega Genesis.
Yeah, it's not a Sega Saturn.
Right.
Okay, now I'm lost because I had Atari.
See, Bridget, I had to make sure.
That's it.
Yeah, they didn't do any add-ons for Atari, unfortunately.
No.
Oh boy.
I just don't think they're there yet. And again, from a developer point of view, having to maintain and build out everything that a page builder offers you, or the option is let me spend my time taking away the stuff it offers you, right? Like, all right, so I don't want to offer them the video module thing. So now I got to figure out how to take it away from them.
Yes, you totally can. You can go in there and disable any of the modules that are in there. And even like was it Beaver Lodge, which is like an add-on for Beaver Builder, has them all actually disabled by default, and you have to enable them one by one.
So you need a plugin to wrangle a plugin.
No. I'm saying that the plugin has it built in, but because they wanted to have all of the modules enabled by default, they had them all on. You can turn off whatever you want. Just like when you load up Beaver Builder and you go into use Beaver Builder for a post, that's actually disabled by default because you really, it's kind of weird, but it's more for pages, right? Same with like, if I remember correctly, the custom post types, there's only like, it only has just post as the only one that you can actually do it in. So if you wanted to, modify any of the other ones, like we were talking about earlier, Bridget, you'd have to go in there and turn on all of those other ones. So that way it exposes it to the rest of them. So yeah, I'm thinking that this is that, you know, all things had to do a transition. So let's just say that at some point here, WordPress is going to be like, you know what, we really like whatever the editor is. We're going to bake this
Like
into
Jetpack,
it. Let's just say,
like he said.
or you know what, totally Jetpack. Yeah, totally Jetpack. So let's say that they do something like that, right? You know, everything has gone through a transition. You had DOS that went to Windows. You had the Mac that had to use frickin' Rosetta, to finally get into an actual like full-blown, you know, OS 10 operating system. You had all of these types of things that needed to happen. So you have to have that transition point. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happening right now, but you're adding on this additional thing to lay on top of.
So it's a WordPress sandwich? Is that why you guys always say WordPress sandwich?
It totally is.
Oh.
Yeah, we just took the hamburger metaphor and turned it into a sandwich.
Yeah, apparently people don't like that now.
You're just adding a whole bunch of stuff onto WordPress that doesn't nearly need to be there.
But you could say the same about JavaScript.
No, because that's code.
Code is still on top of whatever.
No, code is below.
No, but the JavaScript people are doing front-end stuff, so that's above.
What? I'm so confused. I'm gonna offer up another solution.
Okay.
That I built out for someone for work actually, which is ACF Flex Content. Because Flex Content allowed us to create rows, like so you could say, hey, this is a group of data, right? This group of data is whatever, a slider, or it's a, you know, half or whatever it may be. And then I coded every single template for that row. So then the client can come in and I can say, hey, you want to build a new page? You just add in a new row. It's specifically catered toward that data. And that's it. And it's like all the fields are already there and it's all ready to go. It's very data focused versus kind of this, let's just throw a bunch of crap out and
is it Bridgetable?
The initial setup, no, it's not that hard.
Does Bridget need to like create a new table and then write some queries and then have a lookup table for the thing?
Bridget, have you used
$?
Bridget, how's your Access database skills?
Access
Bridget,
database.
you know?
Now that's going back. I did actually build a database at Access, and I did actually one of the previous jobs. Our accounting system was built on not FileMaker Pro, another one that's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, something Fox something. Oh, Fox Pro.
Fox Pro.
And I went back and I went into the code and then I did stuff. But there's a whole big difference between like doing some HTML and getting in some PHP files with get source, blah, 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 whatever, $, something. Looks like you're cussing.
So, Roy, what's
ACF,
Bridget going to have to do?
ACF does require, because you do have to code out the front end. But from the back end point of view, you can, have you used ACF
I have
before?
been in those boxes. I have not created the boxes.
Okay, so it's really not that hard.
Now.
So what I'm saying is that if you were to team up with someone like a developer, like, I don't know, Divino that you work with.
Divino.
That's our new name for him.
That is so funny. I'm sorry. That's not him.
So you create all the meta boxes and all the flex content boxes, and he actually just spits out the PHP for each box. And that way it's not, hey, I can kind of do whatever I want with this page. It's, hey, let me create a row that's like a video and some text. Or it's very specific to what the client needs. And if the client needs a new row, then you just charge them for it. You say, okay, it's going to cost you X amount of hours to, set it up and then create the front end template for it.
So that's closer to building a...
It's a page builder that's really focused on...
a template.
The actual the WordPress site, the actual site and the actual business needs versus kind of just saying, okay, build whatever the F you want.
But if I just want my cat to be on the right side of the page, and then I want the bowl that it's going to eat out of to be on the left side of the page,
cat blog,
and I want to make sure that the cat can move. So, like, am I doing that? You know what I mean? It's like what level here are we talking about? Where if we're all we're doing is building cat blogs for everybody, can we deal with a Visual Composer or a Beaver Builder or whatever, or like what level do we finally say, okay, you know what, we've gone too far, I should now switch over to something else? And how do you switch over? How do you
This
go
sounds
from?
like
That's, I mean, okay, no. So that's another really, really good point that you like are totally missing. Once you're on a page builder, you can't move away from a page
what do you
builder.
mean?
And I know you kind of talked about that earlier, but the
Right.
code that it spits out, the short codes that it uses, are not compatible with life.
With life?
So, like, it's just if like someone had a site that was built with Visual Composer and they were like, here, we want to change the theme and not use Visual Composer anymore, I'm gonna be like,
Right.
no, or you're gonna have to redo all your content basically, because just the way that it spits out stuff, and this is where the code is important, Bridget.
No, I believe that code is important. I'm just saying that it's not my language.
No, I know. I'm just saying code is important.
I
Don't
won't.
forget it.
I have too many coders in my life to ever have thought that.
That's why she goes and she's like, I'm just Beaver
Hashtag
Buildering
not
this. I just need the cat on the right
If
hand
you're
side of the
Beaver
page.
Buildering every single post of your cat blog, I think you're spending too much time running a
Right,
post.
right.
First of
So
all.
supposedly Beaver Builder is the cleanest, with the cleanest code. It outputs the cleanest code, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
But you still have it in short codes, right? Is that correct? Oh, no. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, not really. I mean, they may be doing something on the back end that resembles short codes, but when you turn it off, it doesn't just like throw up on the page and just go like, here's a bunch of orphan short codes, have at it.
So what does it do? Is the content there, or?
It goes back to the content, yeah.
But then what if you have like a row or something? Like a 2-column layout, like your 2 cats. What happens when you just turn off Beaver Builder? Are they on top of
Yeah,
each
they're
other?
just on top
Are
of each
they?
other. It looks like you just totally screwed up. I did it on accident, Roy. I broke a site on accident, and I turned it off. It was all there. It was just, instead of being a row, it just went blip, 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 blip.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
At least
if
HTML.
you could take the HTML and if you could
the
easily
HTML.
take the HTML. The thing is, they're also not using any UI frameworks, right? Beaver Builder doesn't use like Foundation or Bootstrap or anything, right? They kind of roll their own.
I remember right, it was Foundation, but I could be wrong. It has the same type of like column styles and stuff that Foundation uses.
I'd give them a lot of credit, and again, I don't use Bootstrap. I don't use Beaver Builder. But if if you could turn it off, but then have a theme that supports Bootstrap or whatever it is, the UI framework, and so it still looks relatively the same, then that's, for a developer point of view, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I wish Robbie was able to show up. He was out partying, so he could make it. Robbie.
Well, it's cool. I mean, he doesn't have to be here to defend
I'm just
himself,
messing with
but
No.
I mean,
I'm
the
just
reality
messing
is that's how I'm able to do some of the stuff. That's
Yeah.
And I'm saying page builders exist and are good for certain people. There are clientele that like them and use them, and I have no problem with people selling them. I just think there's going to be a better solution.
so to me,
Bootstrap.
it sounds like
Yeah.
the difference between Men's Warehouse and getting a tailored suit.
No, it'd be like not even tailored suit. It's like you're building the suit from scratch.
Well,
like,
that is a tailored.
like there is
I
a
mean,
cow.
I mean, going to an actual
and
tailor.
there is a field of cotton, and you're needing to take the cow and the field of cotton and turn
And
them into
spin your
clothing.
own organic wool that came from your organic sheep.
Right.
No, I
Yeah.
believe that there's an art to it, and like I said, because I consider myself an artist in some ways, with
It's poetry, yo.
with my quilting,
Poetry.
and I would never say a machine quilted quilt is a real quilt.
I think the current page builders are like the Nokia 3360, and the iPhone is just the iPhone is coming, and it'll come sooner or later, and it'll blow everything out of the water once it's
So, Roy, what do you think the API is going to help?
That gives too much
How do you
credit
think
to
the
page
API
builders.
is going to help with front end development? I'm curious about what that What the?
Because you can do
Good
anything
question.
you do in the back end, but from the front end.
The front and the back become the same thing. It's like you walk through the building and you turn around and you just walk through the building again.
Okay, so you were editing an About Us page, right,
Yeah, but I
Bridget?
don't understand how the API is going to help you.
Okay, hold on. Shh. You're working on your About Us page.
I'm not. I'm tweeting out SMMOC's back, yo. Sorry, I'm double tasking, and I'm listening. I promise. I'm totally listening.
So you're working on your
My
About
hand.
Us page, and you're like, all right, I want to edit this content. Right now, you have to go into the WordPress dashboard, mess around with your Beaver Builder, and then find where the content is. Imagine if you could just double click on the content and it turns into a WYSIWYG, and you can just edit right there, click save, and while still looking at the website, you see immediately what it looks like because it's now just saved there.
No, I understand that. That is awesome. I just thought the API was like, there's a review on Yelp. We asked for data, it comes back, and that's what's shown. I didn't know that that's what's formatting it.
The API,
I didn't know
APIs are just a way to connect.
I just
things.
thought it was actual information.
Yeah, no, APIs make the connection. So the way that the API, the REST API, the WordPress API comes into this whole equation is that when you click save after double clicking and editing your content, it sends it back to WordPress and says, here's the new content for this page. It's in between, right? It's like you edited it while looking at the page, but it needs to save into the database, right? So the API saves that change into the database.
Until you make another call.
Yes, until you make another call.
Right? Because they're called API calls, right?
So what is it called? Lasso, right? Lasso, which turned into whatever it's now called, was like the best version of that. But it wasn't great. So I think the next iteration, when someone builds it, is going to be way, way better. Especially if it takes into account ACF and custom meta fields and actually takes into account what data is actually on the page that you're looking at.
See, Bridget, this is the exact same problem that Calypso or the actual apps themselves, any of these things have, is that they're not so tied into the into WordPress and all of the different add-ons that are in there, plugins that are in there, because they don't have the ability to tap into advanced custom fields and edit an advanced custom field. They don't have the ability to get into Gravity Forms and make changes to that. Heck, they may not even have the being able to deal with the extra meta boxes that are on the post. So the fact that you're looking at advanced custom fields on a post editing screen, you're like, well, where's all those meta boxes need to fill in? Bridget, about 100 episodes ago, you were saying that you went into one of your editing screens and didn't even have a content area. All it was just all ACF.
It was, and the thing is that I learned from the meetup, once they build it, then they get rid of all the stuff, so you can't.
That's the point. Like, you're not supposed to have a WYSIWYG.
But then the client says, I don't want a video link here. So then the easiest thing to do, install Beaver Builder. Boom. There's a row. There's your Vimeo.
Boom, done. That's it.
So as soon as front-end editors, or at least content, like your Beaver Builder things, solutions, turn into something as good as like Squarespace, they're never going to be good. Like,
why? They're so good they can't be good enough?
Because right now Beaver Builder is still an admin, WordPress admin kind of thing. And the best it can get is a good WordPress admin versus a good editor for a page. Like, the overall conceptual UX and design of it is still limited by WordPress. So as soon as WordPress itself, like the dashboard, is taken out of the equation, you can say, I can do anything I want. It's going to be completely customized to be this editing experience, and the UX is completely changed, then it's going to be good. But for right now, you're still limited by this little area that's next to the left menu that's there.
Well, then it also doesn't work on, at least in its current state, work on being able to do any of the archive pages, any of the archive pages, or a single page for, pretty much any archive page. Like any of those types of pages where it's doing a list, doesn't work with it. So that limits it to a whole bunch of stuff where it's like, man, I really want to just add this one extra piece to the top of this list. Can't do it. You have to then build a static page that has, a page or a post list on there, and that's the only way you're able to kind of replicate that, but not doing it the WordPress way. You're doing it that Beaver Builder way. There's a bunch of limitations. I definitely agree that there's just a ton of limitations. But if you understand the limitations and you're, just like you were saying, Roy, if you understand the limitations and you can totally work within those limitations, have at it, right? There's nothing wrong with using a page builder. But if you're trying to build a Facebook and you're trying to get, Beaver Builder to work in it, it's probably not going to work out very well.
What's happening, Kevin?
Hey.
Or you can be building.
I want to hear what Kevin
Me
has
too.
to say.
You've been here the whole time.
Yeah, Kevin.
All quiet and shy.
All right.
You got 9 minutes. Have
Here's
at
a
it.
tout ACF flexible content.
Yeah.
So I think that it's awesome in the sense that it's the only page building solution that I know of that actually separates content and markup. Whereas you can have all of your content as meta fields in your database where content belongs, and then your markup is completely confined to page template and template files. I think that part it nails, and that's kind of like my ideal vision of a page builder. But when it comes to actually building out the page itself, I think the flexible content editor can fall short and doesn't scale super well because you're really adding like all of those modules that you build out in your templates are confined to this like little pop-up box. And you hand it over to a client, and if you've built out 20 modules, it becomes sort of cramped.
Yeah, the experience is kind of annoying. I will agree, especially the one I was working on, which had flex content within a flex content, which was it wasn't like the easy. It wasn't Beaver Builder, but it was very specific to the client needs. So fine, but yeah, the flex content wasn't made to be a page builder either.
Yeah.
It just does a really good job.
I think that there are like two ways that I've seen flex content used. One is basically pre-built modules that the developer puts together, hands over to the client, and then there's the more kind of like page builder version of flex content where people try to take flex content and they add in like 1/3 column, 2/3 column, 1/2, 3/4, and when you get to that point, I think flex content kind of reaches its bounds, and that's where it starts to fall apart, in my opinion. But if you are developing a specific site, like I did for a real estate company, and you know that they need X number of modules to put together a property page, it can be a really great solution that, they'll see the name of that module, like, oh, that's the map module, or that's the room gallery. They click that, and they instantly kind of recognize where the content should go. That's where I think it really shines. When you try to make it something more along the WYSIWYG Beaver Builder style, page builder is where I think it starts to reach its limits.
So you're giving them more flexibility. Ooh, the name. You're giving them more flexibility by constraining them in that particular box that they're able to work in. So it's almost like Bridget had to do with advanced custom fields. You end up with 900 different custom fields boxes that she has to go type in a bunch of data, but you've constrained them and said, look, you're only allowed to edit these boxes, and that's it. You're not allowed to drag a bunch of stuff around. You're not allowed to drop
with
it.
flex content, I'll usually do my set number of a specific custom and then give them a WYSIWYG module that they can throw in there. And really, when you think about WordPress's editor, you can pretty much do anything you want. You can throw any markup that you need to in there. So if you need to grab a Vimeo embed code or a YouTube embed, pick your WYSIWYG module and throw it in. But what I'd recommend instead is like use ACS embed module, which has an awesome like preview on the back end, where all you do is paste in a YouTube URL. You see that video on the back end. You can style it as a developer the way you need to, so it's going to work within the context of your theme. Whereas just throwing that code into Beaver Builder, you're limited to whatever styles Beaver Builder comes with, and hoping that it is responsive and breaks the certain at the breakpoints you want it to. So
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing here is that like when you click on a new Beaver Builder like module thing, like you want to add something to your page, it tells you, okay, here's the data for that, whatever it is. Like if it's a video, paste in your video URL. So ACF Flex Content allows you to create those modules. So you can be really specific on, all right, you want video here? Okay, here's the data I need for that based on this website. Kevin also brought up a really good point, and one reason I also really dislike page builders is they don't separate concerns, right? There's a page builder which also spits out template, right? And if a page builder could easily not do that, and I could just grab the data and make it my own, then I might appreciate them a little bit more. But right now it's like I have to hassle with the template because they're spitting out this thing, and I got to deal with their own CSS, and all of a sudden there's important tags everywhere because I don't want to deal with it. And
what's awesome about Flex Content is there's literally no HTML or CSS added unless you want it to.
Yeah,
as a developer.
So like,
it's straight content, and you put it wherever you need it to be.
And the ACF functionality, like the template markup for ACF is really easy. Like they did a really good job with that. Even for Flex Content, it's like super easy to just loop through all the Flex Content fields, and I have different like PHP template files for every single module. So they're really modular. I can then add and really remove them as I need to, and edit one versus all of them at the same time.
Right.
And they can be version controlled.
They can be version. Yeah, exactly. So like, there's all this awesome stuff that goes along with that, and I wish page builders did that more, because that would obviously be much more friendly for developers to say, hey, the backend, the admin, they love Beaver Builder. Fine, let it not put out any markup, and we'll handle that as the developer.
So they're just putting out no markup. So
I don't know how you can do that without.
What would the Beaver Builder do? It's like
if you're a WYSIWYG page builder without a WYSIWYG, you're just
no. The admin side is still the same. You still have Beaver Builder on the back end.
It's just what you get. That's it.
But when you go to the front end, right? If you're viewing the page, it's not automatically spitting a whole bunch of markup. It's just giving me like an object I can work with, and I'll
markup like it's a bad word.
Not when it's not mine.
Roy, doesn't that become misleading?
And now we get to the issue.
I'm a developer.
So
Roy, doesn't that become misleading?
Pride.
What do you mean misleading?
If you're viewing, the whole point of like Beaver Builder is what you see on the back end is essentially what you see on the front end. So if you're looking at this page that you just built a beautiful version of in the back end, you go to the front end, and it's not like that.
No. I'm saying build it like that, but don't tell me how to markup. Let me mark up my own markup. Let me do my own DOM.
Okay.
Like, I will handle that myself. Thank you very much.
So it's like, this is what this pull quote looks like, and then it asks you for the markup.
Because like who just installs a theme in Beaver Builder and is like, okay, I'm done. It's beautiful.
I do. Bridget Willard.
Too many people.
Well, we were just talking about that at the beginning before you hopped on. Was like, how many people are actually looking at the code that the WordPress is outputting, like just the markup that WordPress is outputting, and going and saying, yeah, that's some really good, really pretty looking markup. When it's been minified, everything's been pushed to the left. There's no spacing whatsoever, and it's like on a single line, and you're just like, yeah, that looks pretty sweet. It's just a blob. Awesome.
I'm not saying people looking at I'm not saying good code's going to get you like, oh, look at this awesome code. I'm definitely going to buy whatever they're selling.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd be a millionaire. But to say that all this markup that they spit out to make sure that their thing works well on any theme and any, all across WordPress, I might not appreciate that. And I want more customization.
I hear you.
You want choices, not options?
I want to be able to do it myself. I want to be able to give the admin or the content writer the ability to have Beaver Builder without that telling me how the HTML should be without me hacking away at it. Like, I'm sure there's
you want to bleed when you make that quilt.
Yeah, sure. Yes, that's a great analogy.
Well, I thought it was because I tried to think, okay, I'm not a developer. What am I super snobby about? Quilting. Don't be using this machine.
I think it makes a lot of sense, Bridget.
Because that is not a quilt. You have to bleed. You have to sweat. Your DNA needs to be all over that thing. That's what makes it a gift of love. If you've spent 20 minutes or, God forbid, outsourced it.
You just really turned me off the custom-made quilts.
No, custom-made.
And those overseas quilts.
Oh, God.
So here's my...
I had 5 hours of sleep. I'm sorry.
Here's my biggest sticking point with page builders is that I feel people who know what they're doing with them, like Jason, I think you understand what they do and the limits of them, how to work with them. I think that too often they are used to speed up the development of a site for the person building it, and then spun off as a benefit to the end user,
Right.
to the client. That I use Beaver Builder because it's better for the client. Did you, or did you do it because it was easier for you to build the site? And that's where I think that the justification of using them becomes confused with the actual pros and cons. And get that off my chest. Also, Elf for president.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. I just thought it would be fun to say how controversial this was. I didn't actually think that it would be this controversial.
You know, Team ACF was coming on.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about WordPress, anything you say with WordPress encompasses so many people that have so many different views on things that you're ultimately always going to get some type of debate going.
Except they're so united in their community. It's like that Coke commercial. I like to buy the world a Coke. Remember that? The
Right.
70s?
Yeah, but then nowadays you're talking about like a group of people who are like Diet Coke, and then they're like, no, Coke Zero. No.
The world to
I'm going to
Coke.
build my own Coke.
Yes,
Just get a soda stream. Forget it all.
No one invited Pepsi to that mountaintop.
Pepsi.
Well, yeah,
So
but this isn't WPblab.
So I want to bring everything all the way around here. And I want to say that, Bridget, if you want to take all of your shirts and you want to get them turned into a quilt.
No, Andrea Middleton does it, right?
Yep, that has all of the DNA all over it.
I know, I want one. I've been looking at that page. I've got it bookmarked.
Yep, there's a link in there, and she totally makes them. So there you go.
They're beautiful. I've seen pictures.
So, folks, that's about it for today. Bridget needs to go to sleep. Netflix does not watch itself for me. I got to go over there and go check that out. If you can,
and
Roy
if you need to make his own electricity.
Exactly. Make sure you go over to our Facebook group that we just started up and go check a look at that. If you want, you can also go over to our website at WPwatercooler.com/WPblab. Click on the links there to subscribe and check us all out every week. We record this on Thursdays at 7:30 Pacific. We are in California, so make sure you go over to our website during that time and do all the fun maths and whatnot and figure out how and when we are doing this. So thank you, Bridget, for hanging out. I appreciate it. The Advanced Custom Field Squad for rolling in here and totally dumping on us. I appreciate it.
That was awesome.
It was.
Thanks, Kevin and Roy.
Exactly. I love it. You know, we don't do this. We do this stuff for you guys, and we also do this so that way Bridget is learning more and more so she can become a developer, and then she can totally start working with Roy. So go to the website, check it out, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.